Good evening and welcome to another episode of Apolitically Incorrect Guyana. My name is KIAN Jabour and I am your host this evening. Now, I know I look a little different today, but that was because the rain is falling and I ran out of time because everything in Guyana moves slower once the rain is falling. So my apologies for my very, not as ceremoniously, appealing look when it comes to the apolitical usual dynamic. But I'm here nonetheless. And I have a really interesting show for you guys today. All right. I have to, because I think it's important to say, probably the most important thing that anyone can say. I would like to say Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there, most particularly my mother. All right, Miss Nadia Jabour, I'd like to tell you Happy Mother's Day. She's currently in Canada, but lives in St. Lucia. And I know she has two of my siblings up there with her, so I'm sure they're going to have a wonderful day, all right, on Sunday. So I'm sorry I can't be there, but nonetheless, Happy Mother's Day from myself and Alera, my daughter, all the way here in Guyana. I'd also like to say Happy Mother's Day to Alera's mother, because she is the most important person in my daughter's life. So, and then again, not to forget all the other mothers out there and everyone out there who thinks their mother is the most important and the best. All right. So on that note, we are going to jump straight into our show today. I have a nice little quote that I posted up today that I'd like to share. Maybe we should transition slower because that quote kind of throws us right into the politics. This weekend, I'd just like to say that the rain, we expected a lot of rain this weekend, guys. And I usually save this for the end of the show, but I think everybody should be extra cautious this weekend, especially with all the rain that's coming. I know you guys saw in the news, sadly, more than one person has lost their lives over the last week again. So guys, it obviously is becoming more dangerous out there, more cars on the road, roads deteriorating, lighting. I have this debate going on right now, actually, with our executive about old cars. And we know most of the cars that come into this country are, very old, early 2000s, etc. And they don't have as much safety features. So the fact of the matter is, although they might not be what's causing the accidents, because these older cars is what all of us are driving, they don't have the same safety features as the newer cars. The risk of you dying in these cars is much higher. I'd also like to make mention to the fact that a lot of these cars that come in are already crash cars, so lots of things that are faulty on them, airbags, etc. Parts that have been replaced. We even know of cars that are cut in half and brought in and then pieced back together here. So, to be honest with you, I think it's everybody's duty to ensure that, they know what they're driving, most particularly, but then also to understand that although you may be driving safe, the car that you're in may not be safe. And because of that, I try to actually appeal a little bit more to, the drivers out there, that although you might be thinking you're driving cautiously, I think you have to keep in mind that there are other drivers on the road as well. And I think we tend to lose that dynamic of thinking while we're driving. We do what we can do to most protect ourselves, but there's something called defensive driving. And the idea of that is obviously to protect yourself, but even more so to ensure that you're protecting those on the road as well. Whether or not it's your right of way, you slow down. If you see a bicycle at the side of the road, particularly in these types of conditions, maybe slow down a little bit, because you don't know if they're going to hit a pothole, you don't know if the bicycle's going to fall down. Motorbikes and so on, they don't brake as fast because they don't have as much grip on the road. I mean, it's little things like that you really need to be careful of. I mean, even down to pedestrians. You really got to be cautious, because pedestrians, obviously with the weather the way it is, they're not going to be able to cross, or there's not as many areas for them to cross because of the conditions they're in. So, they may be crossing in all other types of areas. So you just need to be cautious at all times. Defensive driving. That's all I can really preach to you guys. Just take care of yourself and your family and make sure you're taking care of others on the road. All right, on that note, I'm going to bring up another quote that I think it's very relevant to what's happening here in Guyana at the moment. It's something that it's from a very famous book, a philosopher that I think many of you will know, but it's just a snippet from a piece of his book. I'll read it out for you guys. It says, on February 2nd, 1905, American philosopher and writer Alisa Zinovnia, better known in the literary world as Ayn Rand, very popular, I'm sure all of you know, Ayn Rand, as some would it pronounce, was born in St. Petersburg and died in March 1982 in New York. I think I just said he twice. These were her words. When you notice that to produce, I'm dodging some wires here, I'll try again. When you notice that to produce, you need to gain permission from those who do not produce anything. When you check that money flows to those who do not deal with goods, but with favors. When you realize that many become rich by the bribery and for the influence more than by your work, and that the laws do not protect you against them, but on the contrary, they are the ones who are protected against you. When you discover that corruption is rewarded and honesty becomes a self-sacrifice, then you can assert without fear of being wrong that your society is doomed. All right, it's up there. I posted it today on Facebook, and it's such an interesting quote that I think many of us need to read a little bit and understand how that relates to our current society here in Guyana. A lot of people sit down here and, we talk in our social circles and we speak the truth in our social circles, but are scared to come out and speak about it publicly. We know of corruption. We know of bribery. We know of deals that have gone to people that it should not have gone to based on who they know and not what they know. We know all these things are happening, yet we sit down and cower in our little corners because we are scared. We are scared. And, I bring this up to the current situation because I thought it was so relevant to what's happening with the teachers at the moment. As we all know, the teachers have now gone on strike again after they've won their court battle. The court battle, obviously, as all of you who follow know, the teachers went on strike, and then the government then decided to deduct the striking teachers' salaries and deduct their union dues. So the matter ended up in court, and the judge ruled that the teachers' salaries cannot be deducted, and they have a right to strike. And they did it in the legal way. They did it in the correct way. They exhausted all their options first, and then they went to strike action. Now, we all watched the Attorney General, we watched the Vice President, we watched the government, we watched all of these political leaders from the PPP, from the government, come out and say what they're doing is highly illegal and is not allowed, and the court will rule in their favor. Well, as we've now learned, the court has ruled in the favor of the teachers, and the money that they've deducted, they have to now pay them. Now, these teachers are striking because they are not being paid enough. And the government's decision is to further carry that and deduct more of their money. I often feel like they're just trying to create division in our society. They're just trying to aggravate these teachers. Now, why would you do that to the fabric of our society, to the most important people in our society. You know the cliche, we wouldn't have teachers. We wouldn't have teachers if there were no teachers. We wouldn't have doctors, lawyers, nurses, engineers, the list goes on. All the professionals, all the jobs, any career for that matter, accountants and whatever it is, business owners. But yet, we're sitting here watching this government pay these teachers next to nothing, because if there's one thing all of us can agree on, is that these teachers are not paid enough, not even close. And then on top of that, they go and deduct their salaries even more. Now, I'm sorry, it's unacceptable. And it carries me back to the politics, because immediately the first thing out the government's mouth is, oh, this is political. It's all politically driven. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. That is the government's way of twisting and turning this nonsense so that they don't have to act, or they don't have to what? Give the teachers a livable wage? I don't understand. I don't understand why this situation has even gotten to this point. Now, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, well, the teachers are trying to bargain for money from years past and be retroactively paid. Well, guess what? Let's start with the fact that we have more money than we need. We have oil money. Okay, billions of dollars, billions of US dollars. If you add up all the money that these teachers are asking you for, it don't even reach $1 billion Guyana dollars. Now, what's wrong with giving the teachers a little top up on their salaries? What is wrong with it? Even through COVID, when people are suffering the most, now with the high cost of living, give me a break, because all those years they have suffered. All these years, these teachers have been suffering, okay? The teachers didn't just start making a little bit of money. So giving them a little bit of extra money that we have, that won't hurt the country, what's wrong with that? Better yet, you want to talk about economy and how great the economy is doing, then how can this hurt? Giving the citizens a little bit more spending power, how can that hurt? How can that hurt anything? How many teachers do you think we're talking about here? Half the population? No, a couple thousand. A couple thousand asking for what? 200,000-300,000 retroactively paid? Pay the people. Pay those teachers, and the nurses for that matter, pay those teachers their money. So now I'm going to get to the point that how the politics has gotten involved. So immediately the government screams, this is political, and half the ignorant PPP supporters say, yeah, we believe you. We believe that this is political. These same people who have been taught in schools and know how those teachers suffer, knows the conditions that those public schools are in. And you don't think to yourself that those teachers deserve, not even a little bit, a lot more money? This is how broken our society is. Because watch, all of a sudden, all the teachers agree that they should be paid more. Not just the PPP, not just the APNU, not just the in-between, the independent, but everyone agrees that the teachers should be paid more. But the minute the politics, the government, or anybody for that matter starts screaming, this is political, half of everybody gets scared. Half of them. Half run away and say, oh no, I don't want to be mixed up in politics. Well, what I'd like to bring up in this conversation is, why is everyone so scared of politics? Now, it's a conversation I've been having very recently with with people, just in social circles, etc., across the country for that matter. Why is everybody so scared of politics? Because immediately people look at me all the time and they go, oh my God, what you're doing is so brave. What do you mean what I'm doing is so brave? What I am doing, I feel is necessary to ensure that my child and everyone around me life is better. Why is everyone so scared of politics? If you were one of these people that feel, oh my gosh, I don't want to get involved with politics because what? Because the people that you voted for, the people that you have put in power, you are scared of? You pay their salaries. Now, what exactly kind of fabric of society are we in that we need to be fearful of the people that we pay? The people that are begging us for a vote. How is it, ask me, how is it that everyone is so scared? Now, here's what's interesting about this scenario to me. People have got to start understanding how underdeveloped and how underdeveloped our society is, and how much the people in this country are not taken care of. If you are standing there with a contract for a couple $1 million, if you are standing there because you get a grass cutting contract from the government, if you are sitting there because you got a license to, I don't know, to run your business, import drinks, I don't care what you do, but it has to have a license from the government. If you are scared that the government is going to pull that away because you are now speaking the truth, then something is really, really wrong here. How broken are we as a society? Now, here's what's even more interesting to me. We all can argue over and over in this society, every aspect. We watch roads being built. We watch schools being built. We watch no sidewalks. We watch no fire hydrants. We watch no fire escapes on buildings. I mean, we watch faulty wiring in buildings. We just watch that we have such substandard work in this country. And it's so interesting to me because I sit here and somebody says that, oh, the people don't know any better. And I say to them, but the politicians do. Now, if you know that you pay for these politicians to travel around the world and see the best of the best, but yet come back here and give you cheap work, give you shoddy development, then you have to ask yourself, why is that happening? And it leads right back to the same conversation of why you are afraid to speak about politics. This is an oppression. You are now being oppressed. You have next to nothing in your pocket, but you're so scared that you're going to lose it, that you cower and hide from the truth. You don't want to speak about the truth because you're so scared. You see a piece of road being built, just a 2-inch cap thrown over it. The government posts up a set of pictures. Look, we building road. And you know that that road is garbage, but you're scared to go out and say that the road is garbage. You're an oppressed person. If you are scared to speak the truth, you are oppressed. You have nothing to defend. You have scraps at the bottom of the table. You can't even buy a proper car, but you frightened to talk. Something is wrong in our society. Now, I'm going to carry this a little bit further on a very weird thing that came up. This is the school, the Ministry of Education put this out. And these things worry me. Okay, now this was pulled down. I have to start by saying to everyone, this was pulled down yesterday after huge public uproar. Now take a read. It says, from the Ministry of Education, a daily breakfast helped me in school. Essay competition that you should write between 150 to 200 words on the above, telling us how the breakfast program positively impacted you as a grade 6 student. Now, the prizes are one laptop. This one actually made me laugh. The prizes are one laptop. Second prize is a bicycle. The third prize, just read this carefully, a backpack of school items. Now everybody knows that this is a backpack, but clearly, whatever they're trying to prove here, somebody didn't get the breakfast apparently. All submissions must include your name, school, blah, blah, blah. Essay can be written, emailed, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you think that it's okay to ask children to write an essay on how grateful they should be that they have received food. And something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. These grade 6 students are the ones that are writing common entrance. You have now given them a meal. And bear in mind, you need to give them that meal because most of the families can't afford it. I'll tell you the numbers. It's 26,000 meals a day were prepared over the 2 days. Okay? 26,000 children wrote common entrance. And you're giving them meals because you know most of the families can't afford to give those children meals. But not only that, you're asking them to write an essay on how grateful they should be for it. How it has helped them. How food has helped them. That's what you're asking the children? You're asking the children how food has helped them? That's disgusting. That's disgusting. How broken are we as a society? How broken, how does this government view you as a citizen when they're asking your children to write an essay on how food has helped them? If you don't think you're oppressed, I don't know what to tell you. They didn't even spell the words right, but they want your children to write an essay? This is what we think is good leadership? Let me bring up the fact, let me not forget the child that they kicked out of the Calypso competition because, you sang a song that made the government look bad. You kicked the child out of a singing competition, a little child, and luckily they had some citizens out there that went and gave them a prize anyway. Well, what is happening here? Where are we living? What kind of society is this? And yet everyone, like I said, on a moral fabric, a moral basis, we have to do better for everyone. This stuff is super, super disappointing to me. And it reaches the point that I'm, especially on a day like Mother's Day, on a weekend like Mother's Day weekend, I mean, at what point in time are we going to realize that we're just surviving here? Nobody in this country lives anymore. Everyone just survives. Everyone is just surviving. And they're scared to speak because that little bit of survival that they're enduring, they're scared that they'll lose that. When are we going to wake up and realize that something is wrong here? We can't be living in this type of society. For all those out there that have lost contracts, I had a group. I'll tell you. I was sitting down with a group of friends recently, and we had a little conversation about. Recently about me being in politics, because I'm a part of ANUG, a third party here that's going to be running the 2025 election, and the conversation ended up that I'm doing this for no reason. You're going to fail. Bear in mind, these are all a group of people my age, right? So in their, late 20s, early 30s, and they're sitting there looking at me, the young people, and they're looking at me saying, you're really brave for being in politics, but you're going to fail. You're going to fail. It's not a work we're trying to do. And I said, why? And they look at me, because that's just the way things are. It just don't work like that. You can't change the country. And that really, really made me step back. You want to know why it made me step back? Not because, it worried me that it's impossible. I'm very confident with what I'm doing. I'm making a very conscious effort to do it. But it worried me that these people, and it was a group of us, it was, maybe like 7 people. And I was like, none of you believe that this can be done. Like, all of you believe that your fate is just predetermined by these 2 political parties, and there's nothing that can change. At your age, when you are supposed to be doing the most and have the most energy and the most ambition, all of them are sitting there saying, nah, you can't change it. What you're doing is great. We believe in you, etc., etc. But at the same time, you can't walk. It can't walk. The country not going to change. And I sit there going, and you know what it led me back to? This exact conversation of oppression. Because I sat there and I said, Well, let me ask you a question. Do you believe you can change the country? Because you believe that I can't. But as a young person, as a young confident person, because you're confident in what you do you believe you can change the country? Well, the conversation obviously has to go back to no. They don't believe they can change the country, or else they wouldn't feel that the country can't be changed. Now, this led me to a really worrying idea of what is happening in this population in this country. We've reached a point where nobody out there other than the PPP people that are paid are screaming progress. Everybody knows that's bullshit. Everybody knows people in this country suffering. Everybody knows cost of living gone through the roof. Everybody knows salaries, the teachers especially, are through the floor, and the government has no intention of changing it. So we're sitting here saying, well, Jesus, we're just doomed. And I can't understand how our generation, they've already convinced our generation that they have no chance of changing anything. To the point where you see these things come up with the Calypso competition with the children. No, you can't. You talking against government. You must be scared of politics. You get kicked out. That child can never speak about politics again. These children who got to write an essay based on how much food has helped them. Food from the government. Thank you to the government for giving us food. Like, this is... Do you not see the trend here? They've already started. Look at the face on the textbooks. Why is there a government official's face on our textbooks? What the hell? You don't see a problem with that these politicians have decided to make themselves into these gods in this country? That you must fear me? The people that you voted for? Something is wrong. Figure that out. This is Mother's Day weekend, and if there's something that my mother has taught me, is that if you have anything at all in this country, have a little empathy. Try to help people. Do what you can to help others. Isn't that what all these religions teach as well? All of our mothers have taught it us, but everybody has become so oppressed, so decided that, there's no hope, that everybody's just become selfish. And now I gotta look out for me. I gotta look out for me. I just gotta study me. I just gotta make sure my money there. You don't realize that little bit of money that you're talking about, how much, where do you think you're going with it? What do you think the plan is? How far do you think you're gonna get? Look at our parents who feel the same way. You think our parents comfortable? Are they complaining every single day? We have to start having more confidence in this. We have to realize at some point that the government has made everyone scared of politics, and nobody's doing anything. It's just a really interesting conversation that's been had recently. And elections is coming around, and I'll give you an example. I sent PPP had their Congress lately, right? I just bring up the picture. I think I might not have sent it. Sorry, I don't think I sent it to Adiki. But PPP recently had their Congress. I'm sure everybody saw it all over the news, etc. Let me just start off by throwing a low blow. A new member of the Central Committee of the PPP, Nigel Darnball, who was accused of rape and then charges dropped after he was arrested, which now has new allegations, as of today, new allegations of misconduct around him, has now come out, and that is the Central Committee member of the PPP. Now, that party has its own internal runnings, they can do whatever they want. Okay, it speaks enough for itself. But what I found interesting is, again, the hypocrisy and the fear of the country, where the PPP held their Congress. I'm not even going to call it. I'm not even going to call it the convention center. I'm not even going to call it the convention, because that is being used as parliament at the moment. Now, I'm sure you've seen the pictures all over of the PPP flags that were put up. And then on top of that, you've seen the flags all over the streets now. So just so you understand, one, as of right now, Parliament is ongoing. Congress, please. The convention center is a state building. So now you've put up these flags all over a state building, right? Now, what's interesting about that is everybody went up into uproar when APNU painted, the office of the president and all the buildings green. 100% agree with you. That should never happen. It is completely wrong to paint State House in your party colors. There is also a campaign period that you should be putting up flags all over the place. Clearly, none of these two organizations have any regard whatsoever for the laws and feel that they are above them. I will also make mention, and I think this is important to mention, because it's something that I think is so important. ANUG is the only party that came out of the 2020 election that has filed their election expenses and finances with GCOM. Is the only one. APNU, AFC, PPP, none of the other organizations have handed in any financials to GCOM. Now, I want you to ask yourself what that signifies. Why is it that the two major parties have not handed in their financials for what they spent in, according to the laws of the 2020 elections, on what they've spent? Now, you ask me if that is above board. Okay? But yet we stand up here and everybody got a stone to throw and everybody got something to say. Now let me talk a little bit about more financials now that we're on it, because that's what I've segued into. All right, Exxon, I'm gonna ask the Exxon picture to come up. This is a big story going on currently that I think everybody needs to have a comment, that needs to understand what's going on. Exxon, here it is. ExxonMobil says unaware of clerical error in declaration to GRA. A news article by Newsroom, Exxon Guyana Limited learnt from the Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, of a clerical error in a customs declaration filed by our former broker in a late 2023. Exxon did not compose the erroneous declaration, nor were aware of this clerical error when the declaration was filed. Now, let's discuss this for 2 seconds, talking about lies. Now, for any of you out there that has any experience at all in filing taxes for your business, Exxon is a business, you know that you have to do an internal audit on your financials before you hand them into GRA. Everyone knows that. You have to hand in audited financials to file your taxes. Now, the figures are, they went from US 4 million for these oil equipment to US 12 billion. The real price of the equipment was $4 million US. Exxon handed in documents to GRA that said the equipment cost 12 billion with a B. Now, if you have done your internal audited financials, which you have to, you telling me you didn't notice an extra $12 billion on your bottom line? That's what you telling me? You could lie through your teeth like that to the public? You did internal auditing, ExxonMobil. You know that you are $12 billion over. Don't lie. Thankfully, GRA has taken them to court, and Ramps Logistics for this matter. So at least GRA is making an effort, because that is a damn lie. You were telling me that this was a clerical, just so you know, the article says it was a clerical error. They make a mistake from $4 million to 12 billion. Would the person fall asleep on the zeros, on the zero button? You know how much more zeros? Not to mention a 4 and a 12 are two different things. Stop lying. You know that you're lying. And now you have to understand that everything that Exxon spends is cost recoverable. Get that through your head. It's very interesting to me because we also recently saw a court matter ongoing with a group of citizens that took EPA and Exxon to court for oil spill insurance. Now, basically what these citizens said is, we are taking Exxon to court because the laws of Guyana state that they need to cover anything, all expenses, if there is a oil spill. And what they currently have, Exxon, is if they spill oil, they have a number, a cap, I think it's $2 billion, that they will pay up to $2 billion. The citizens took this to court, and the judge ruled, no, Exxon needs unlimited coverage, okay? Exxon needs to cover Guyana 100%, no matter what the number is, if there is an oil spill. Now, the citizens won that case. The judge ruled that yes, they need to have unlimited coverage. And for all those out there that say unlimited coverage is not a real thing, no, it is a real thing. And just because it hasn't been done and you haven't heard about it in other parts of the world doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It does exist. And there's nothing wrong with doing something different and making sure that Exxon is tied to covering any oil spills. Now, here's where things got amazing. Amazingly foolish, amazingly oppressive. The government of Guyana, through the Attorney General's office, has now joined the matter to help Exxon appeal the order. The judge in Guyana ruled that Exxon has to cover unlimited amounts of money if there is an oil spill. The government of Guyana has now stepped in and said, no, we don't think Exxon should cover unlimited. So we're going to help defend Exxon in court. They are Guyanese taxpayers, money now being spent to defend Exxon, to stop Exxon from protecting Guyana if there is an oil spill. I bring this case up because when you see a false declaration like $12 billion for a piece of equipment, when it only costs $4 million, then you know the corners that Exxon is cutting. You know that everything is not above board. There's no secret here anymore. But yet everyone is scared to speak the truth. It's funny that everyone has nothing to say until something bad happens. When the oil spill actually does happen, because Exxon using shitty equipment, because they're not doing all the safety checks, because they're cutting corners left, right, and center to make themselves more money, then guess what? When shit hits the fan, guess what? Exxon not gonna pay. We will. And our citizens will, and our environment will, and our wildlife will, and our children will. Someone has to start speaking the truth here. You know, I'm gonna bring up the other clip, the other one that I sent you. Right, this is just another conversation that I think has to be spoken about in detail because I don't think enough people understand it. Ministry of Education ready to engage teachers union, surprised at intent to resume strike. Why are you surprised? That is an untrue statement. That is a lie. You know that you are not following any of the steps that are rightfully need to be followed in order to engage these teachers in active conversation and raising their salary. And now you're pretending to be surprised. They even warned you in advance. They even said, we will engage with, now that we've won the court case, we are happy to engage with the ministry. The ministry never come to the table to discuss what they want, but they decided that we can only have our own conversation, and that's the end of that. Too bad for the teachers. I just brought that up because it's just untrue. It's just a lie. All right? At some point in time now, we have to start figuring out that these are too many things that is not the truth. Talking about oppression and the future of this country. Did I send you the picture with the house, the soldier's house? No? My apologies. There was an article recently in the papers. I can post it. There was an article recently in the papers and in the news of a soldier. It happened yesterday or the day before. A soldier that some bandits broke into his house and he was shot in the chest as he was trying to fight back to defend his family. Now, crime is through the roof. Everybody knows this. But here is what really, really disturbed me about this article is when you look at the house that this soldier is living in, it is an extremely low-income house. It's a bungalow. You know, you could tell that the wall's not finished. You could tell that this got, 1 or 2 bedrooms. And this soldier is just not a financially secure person. Now, if we are not taking care of the people that are defending our country, when all of this that's going on with Venezuela is currently ongoing, where are we headed? We just see news clips of Venezuela building a bridge over Cayuni. I don't know if it's true or not, but we just saw it, circulating. Let's say it is true. Worst case scenario, Venezuela is making an active move. You think a soldier who earning next to nothing, how long you think, or whether he going or not, to go and risk his life out there for what, Guyana? Guyana, the guy he living in a shack? Guyana, that he getting shot in his own house? Guyana that didn't even got enough money to take care of himself. Remember that story the other day with the taxi driver, which was a soldier that got shot because he picked up some passengers and carried them up the road, and it was 2 bandits again. The taxi driver that is a soldier that trying to earn extra income because he's not earning enough as a soldier. And this is what we talking about is going to defend Guyana. You guys don't see a problem here? You guys are not understanding what depression is, or oppression for that matter? You guys don't see that these people, everyone in this country is sinking? I don't know what else to tell you. Do I have any more clips to bring up? No, I didn't bring up any more clips. I have, guys, on this note, I'm trying to get you guys to understand that at some point in time, we have to start looking out for that all of us can't survive without each other. All right, I keep telling people are, I'll be a little personal with you here. People keep turning to me and saying, Kian, you run a successful business. Why are you in politics? Why don't you just stay quiet and you're going to make more money, more people can support you, and, you're going to get government contracts, you can do everyone. Why don't you stay, why don't you just, do what we are doing and staying quiet? Because that doesn't help anyone. All right? It doesn't help anyone. And let me just tell you on a business side, on a business note, okay? You know what I've quickly learned in business is that when more people have money, you will do better in business. So it's only logical that I help everyone around me make money and do better, because they will have more money to spend on me as a businessman. I don't care if you're selling clothes. I don't care if you're selling drinks. I don't care if you're selling, car parts. I don't care what you're selling. Do you not understand that your business will do better if more people have money? So why are you not fighting for more people to do better? Why are you not fighting for PAYE to be reduced? Why are you not fighting for VAT to be reduced? Why are you not fighting for duties on vehicles to be reduced? Why are you not fighting for teachers and nurses and doctors to be paid, and engineers, etc., to be paid more? Why are you not fighting for these things? That little bit of money that you're earning, how far you think it carrying you in life? You just think you're going to coast for the rest of your life on a couple $1 million that you think you got? Until what? You crash your car, you gotta buy a new one. Until your house, get some issue and you got to you got to do repairs. Until your child gets sick and you got to go to the hospital and pay medical bills. What don't you understand? That you are so fragile that the only way you can do better is if everyone is doing better. And you can't be scared of the politics, because that is what is keeping you in this extremely, extremely budgeted survival mode that you live in. You got to get yourself out of that mindset. Because it doesn't take a lot of us to change this country. As I keep telling people, it only takes 3 seats in parliament, 3 multiplied by 6,000, 18,000 people. That is less than a cricket stadium. 24,000 people, I believe, is held in the Guyana National Stadium. We need less than 1 cricket game, to change this country, to ensure that we have a balance. That means that if 20,000 people, just 20,000 out of the 400,000 plus that vote in elections every year, 20,000 just needs to vote for one third party to ensure that there's somebody else representing. Now, I'm going to finish off the show by explaining why this is so important. For all of you out there that have any sort of logic or understanding of what a democracy is and accountability in a democracy demands, then you'll understand that for a country to move forward and progress, there needs to be a vibrant opposition to hold the government accountable. All of you out there can agree with this. You need a vibrant opposition. Well, guess what? For there to be a vibrant opposition, you need to vote for them. You need to vote for somebody else other than APNU and PPP. That is the only way to get a vibrant opposition. They can't just create out of nowhere. The government doing all kind of hocus pocus, work with GRA and Exxon and doing their own deals and the friends and family benefiting. Well, guess what? If you know that there's bribery and corruption, you're scared to talk the truth, then you have to vote different. You have to be able to stand up in that box, in that voting booth and say, you know what? I have to put my X next to somebody else, or else this country can't move forward. Because guess what? There's nothing worse than a one-party state. Okay? There's nothing worse. We've seen it in this country already. We know what it's like when one organization, when one president rules this whole country and nobody ain't got no say. We know what happens. We're watching it right now. The same reason you are scared to speak about politics is the same reason you need an opposition that can defend you. Get that through your head now. You have to figure this out. You have to learn it. Get you and your family out there to vote for an opposition party, okay? We have to do better in this country, or else our children are going to feel it, right? On that note, everyone, I am going to cut the live there. I'd like to thank you all for joining me. We had a good show, and I hope all of you be safe out there. And last but not least, I'm going to end it on the good note that I started with. I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. Just like our teachers, we would not be anywhere without you. All right, I thank you so much. And most importantly, I'd like once again to say Happy Mother's Day to my mother. All right, on that note, guys, please have a very safe weekend. It's a rainy weekend. Please be safe on the roads. All right, I am KIAN Jabour. This is Apolitical. See you next Friday. Take care.